betrayed right now. What is going on? Okay, so I'm actually going somewhere for once. I'm not just getting ready for absolutely no reason. But yeah, this is my outfit. But anyway, that's not even the point. Oh, I have this little bow. It's the cutest thing ever, but that's not even the point. The point is, I really wanted to finish the outro for this video before I forgot, because I have stuff going on this week. But essentially, I am, if you can tell by the title, I'm reading 3 horror books, and completely by coincidence, they all ended up being Riley Sager books. And so I was like, okay, let's make a video. Okay, so yeah, welcome to my reading Riley Sager / reading 3 horror books for the first time video. Actually, I've read horror books before, like thriller books. I've just like very randomly, like I never actually sat down and read like a bunch in a row. I'd read like one and then like move on to a different genre. But anyway, I've been in like a thriller mood, so we're reading 3, and this is my journey. I don't get scared that easily, so we'll have to see. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, guys, I wanted to update. I started The House Across the Lake. Also, I didn't get a new Kindle. I just took off the cover because, I don't know, it's so much more comfortable like this. I kind of want to like put stickers and stuff, but anyway, that's not the point. I started The House Across the Lake by, you know what, hold on, let me close the door. Okay, by Riley Sager, and I'm not that far in. I'm like 7% through the book, and I stopped in the middle of like, I don't know what chapter exactly, but like, yeah, I didn't get very far, and nothing's happening yet. So far, the main girl, who we know is like this actress, is living in this lake house, and one day she goes to the lake, and there's like this other woman who's drowning, and she recognizes that woman who's also this, she's like this retired model. And so then she saves the drowning woman, and they become really good friends. And it kind of like switches past and present, I think. And in the present, this girl, this actress, she's being like questioned for like the disappearance of the husband of the model. And like something's going on because she did kidnap the husband, but only because for some reason the model is also missing, and he's a leading suspect. And I think she feels like the cops aren't doing anything about it, so she kidnaps him herself to question him, and then just like cuts off there and then goes back into the past to when her and the model first met. And I think they become like really close friends, and then I don't know, something happens. But it's always her husband, but I feel like there's gonna be like kind of a twist. I heard his books are really good, so yeah, I'm gonna continue. I was like, when I made the intro, I was like in a very thriller mystery mood. But then after that, I read This Woven Kingdom, which I actually really liked. And then I read These Infinite Threads, which I didn't like. I thought it was so slow, so boring. It was like going through like the typical second book in a series like slump. And then I read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I'm telling you guys, I could not put that book down. Like, I couldn't stop. Like, I actually had to like restrain myself from reading and actually getting work done. It was so bad. But I ended up finishing it in a day. And then I was like in a really like rom-com-y mood. But like, I knew I was gonna get disappointed because that's what usually happens. Like, I read a rom-com, I end up really liking it, and then I look for like other rom-coms like it, and there's just very, very few rom-coms that I enjoy. Some of them are horrible. Some of them are really, really bad. Like, I can't even stand them. And then others are like really good. Like, there's no in between, which is so weird. But anyway, yeah. So then I was like gonna read another rom-com, and then I was like, you know what? I really need to make this video, and I really think once I actually get into a book, then I'll like, I'll be able to finish all 3 of them really quick. Because also, summer's ending, guys. It's really, really tragic. It'll probably be over by the time I post this. But right now, I have like 1.5, like actually exactly 1 more week until school starts. So yeah, it's really, really sad. And okay, So I'm like 63% through, and it's like kind of slow in the beginning. Like, I'm not in the beginning anymore, I'm pretty much in like the thick of it. But like in the beginning, it was literally just her like saving Catherine, and then we like kind of understand what happened to her, like with her husband and everything. And then we like meet all the characters, and then like her becoming friends with Catherine, and then spying on Catherine, and then like Catherine disappearing. And like the disappearance wasn't like interesting or like intriguing in any way, because like we know it's gonna happen. We knew from the very beginning that it was gonna happen. And also we know who it is. We know that it's what's her husband's name? It's Tom. We know it's Tom. So um it's like, it's not interesting. But I also feel like it might not be Tom, because all these other things are coming out too. Like the fact that like they get a detective to like also look into it for them, and the detective tells them that they have this ongoing case of all these like girls that went missing in the past like 2 years or something like that. And this detective now thinks that Tom was the person who was like kidnapping these girls or killing them, and Catherine knew because this letter was sent to like the police station or something, saying like, I think they're here, like I think the girls are here or something. And so now Casey, the main girl, thinks that like Tom finds out that Catherine knew, and so he like gets rid of her, like kills her. She runs away before he can do anything. She's not sure what happens, but like things are happening. So it's like getting more interesting, because like more things are coming to light, and it's not just like a very one-dimensional like woman disappearing kind of thing, which it kind of was in the beginning, because now like there's like layers to it. And she's getting closer to Boone. And yes, that is his actual name. Like, I don't think I mentioned Boone before, but anyway, she meets this guy who's like kind of her like neighbor, or like he lives with her neighbors, her other neighbors, not Catherine and stuff. And his name is Boone. Like, I can like overlook these kinds of things, but like I cannot overlook this. I cannot overlook the fact that his name is literally Boone, like Boone. This is horrible. Like, I I don't care how nice he is. I don't care if he turns out to have like a great personality or something. I'm just never going to be able to overlook that name ever. Like, it's horrible. And like the author acknowledges that it's a horrible name, but like why? Why would you like do that? Why? It's horrible. But anyway, yeah, that's what's happening so far. So, okay. So, I have news. Basically, Casey like breaks into Tom and Catherine's house after Catherine goes missing, and like searches the entire house because she starts getting suspicious. Because in the beginning, Tom like kind of plays out the whole disappearance to be like, oh, we got in a fight and she left and blah blah blah. And like Casey's like, that doesn't sound right. So like she goes into their house and stuff, and then when she's there, she finds like Catherine's phone, and then she takes a picture on of Catherine's phone, because like someone called her, like a number called Catherine. So she takes a picture of the phone, and then now she's back here with like Boone. I can't even say his name, it's so bad. But anyway, so like she like calls the number. She calls like the number on the phone, and then phone starts ringing, and it just skips to like the present day thingy, because like it's like split POV, not POV, split timeline. It's like currently after Catherine's disappeared, and like after she's like kidnapped Tom. um and like I have this weird feeling that like in the present day she hasn't kidnapped Tom, she kidnapped Boone. Because like I don't know, I feel like I'm being delusional right now, But I also feel like she never mentioned Tom by name when she's like interrogating him. She never said it was Tom. We just assumed it was Tom because right before like she goes upstairs to interrogate him or like talk to him or whatever, like the detective comes and it's like, "Oh, have you seen Tom? You know, like he's disappeared. Are you sure you didn't take him?" So like, why do I feel like it's not Tom? It's the other guy. Not me literally predicting it. Maybe I am right. I'm probably, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I was right. I knew it. I'm literally a genius because it's like, okay, so this is like the end of the past, or like, sorry, the present perspective when she's like interrogating the guy that we originally thought was Tom. But it says, "What you planning on doing with Tom Royce?" Which means she's not interrogating Tom Royce. It's Boone. It's the weird name guy. I knew it. I knew it. Like, nobody with that kind of name is normal. I'm sorry if you guys, one of you has that name. I'm really sorry, but I don't make the rules. What is going on? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? What? How? What? Like, they're ghosts? She's possessed? What the hell? Someone explain this to me. Like, I am so confused. Someone explain this to me. I thought this was a murder mystery. Why am I being, like, betrayed right now? But anyway, like, I guess, like, Tom goes into this other house at the same lake, and like Casey goes in after she thinks he's left, and she finds Catherine. And then Tom comes out and he's like, "You have to leave her alone. Like, that's not Catherine. That's not my wife." And then she's like, "What? What do you mean it's not your wife?" And then he's like, "That's not Catherine. Like, something possessed her." And Miss Girl Casey's like, "I think he's unwell." And I'm like, "Same. Like, same. I think everyone's unwell. Like, what is going on here?" And then Catherine like starts smiling and she's like tied up, right? And so it's all creepy. And then she starts smiling and then she's like, you know who I am? And then she's like, "Who?" And she's like, "I'm Len." And it's like, I don't know if I mentioned, but Len was Casey's husband, like the guy who drowned and died. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? So now Casey's like talking to Len, but she doesn't like believe what's going on here. She thinks they're both like delusional, or they're like, I don't know. I don't know. I hope this is a joke. My brain is actually like closing in on itself. I don't know. Okay, like Catherine or like Len or whatever is like telling Casey things that only like Len would know to prove that she is Len, and then she's like, "That's not enough." You see what I'm talking about? My brain's just not braining. Okay? And Catherine's like, "That's not enough," I say. Sorry, Casey's like, "That's not enough," I say. "I'll need more proof than that." And then Catherine's like, "How about this?" Catherine grins. "I haven't forgotten that you killed me." What? What? Miss Girl's literally been drinking herself like dead every single day, and she killed Len? Like, what's going on here? Okay, wait. I made a mistake. Earlier, I said that the person that, um, sorry, that, okay, earlier I said that Casey says to the person she's holding captive, she goes like, "You still have, like, where's Tom? Like, what did you do with Tom?" But, like, sorry, the guy asks her, "What did you do with Tom?" So she did something to Tom, and the guy's asking her. It's not the other way around. But yeah, anyway. Okay, this is all so chaotic because every 5 seconds I keep contradicting myself. But okay, the person that was kidnapped and like tied up isn't Boone or Tom. It's Catherine or Len or like whatever. It's guys, I can't deal with this. It's literally 2:48, 2:54 p.m. and it's like it's hot out and my brain is like crying and like, what's going on? This started out so mellow and boring, and now the author's just like, okay, we're gonna get a little drunk now. I don't know what to. I literally read one page, but I have to say something again. Because, like, Unhinged, like, I don't know how many stars I'm gonna give it, but on a scale of 1 to 10 of like the insanity, it's like a 12. This is crazy. Every single chapter, like the last like 5 chapters that I've read, every single chapter I've had an update because they've been so mind like boggling. That's a horrible word. I don't even ever want to say it again. But anyway, Len killed Megan, Tony, and Sue, who are like those girls that like I mentioned earlier, who everyone thought, what's his name, Tom killed. But it's not. Len killed them. That's why Casey killed Len. Like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? I can't handle this. I don't know why I do this to myself. I literally don't even know why I was like, oh yeah, I kind of want to read horror books now, guys. Okay, so I have my mug cake. Guys, these are actually so good. Like, me and my aunt recently tried it, and they're so they're so good. Like, you'd think they'd be like, it's a mug cake, by the way. I know it looks weird, but like, you'd think they'd be bad, but it's not. It's like interesting. It's good. It tastes like cake. It's so good. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I finished The House Across the Lake. Um, I don't know what to think. I don't even know how I'm going to continue the rest of this video because, like, I don't know, like, so much was happening, but I was like underwhelmed. Like, I know that doesn't make sense because, like, literally, like, every 5 seconds something would be happening, but I was just like, why is this happening? Or, like, it was very, like, cliche stuff just, like, put together. Like, the husband is trying to kill his wife. Like, the only not I wouldn't say interesting because it was just very shocking part was like the Len and his like ghost thing. That was just very very out of the blue because the rest of the story was so like mundane and like human, and then randomly there's like a ghost. I don't know, it was weird. But essentially how it ends is like Casey decides to tell Len, like, okay, if you tell me where you buried these girls, I will set you free. So he takes her to like where he buried the girls, and then he's like, okay, now you have to set me free, and she's like, no, I think I'm gonna like, no. So then instead she's like, okay, possess me instead of Catherine. So he like possesses her, and then she like tries to drown herself that in the lake so that Len dies with her. But then once Len leaves, I guess her body or whatever, I don't know, Catherine saves her and they go back and they make up like the story for the cops like, oh yeah, Catherine just, Catherine and Tom had a fight and Catherine left. And she was like, she just wanted to clear her head or whatever. So she was like in the forest, and then I don't know, she got lost and now she's back. So like they stick with that story, right? And then later, this girl, Casey, she's just like at her house and she's thinking about something that Catherine said a while ago. And she's thinking about like, oh yeah, Catherine was telling me that she's been feeling very like off recently. And so earlier, Casey thought that Tom was trying to poison Catherine slowly, and she sent like the shard of glass, like wine, the shard of glass from a wine glass that Catherine had drunk, and then it slipped out of her hands and it like shattered. So Casey has the shard, and she gives it to the detective to check it, to get it checked for poison. And so the detective does that, and like, oh my god, my thoughts are so like, okay. So then Casey gets suspicious again because she's like, oh, even before like Catherine drowned, which is when Len entered, like when Len possessed her, was when Catherine drowned in the lake. Catherine was telling me like, oh, I've been feeling really weird, like even before that, like I've been, I don't know, disoriented or whatever. And so like this, the thing that she thought earlier just like comes back to her, like, oh yeah, what if he still like is poisoning her? Like what if on top of like the whole Len thing that was also happening? And then she like calls the detective, and then she leaves a message for her like, okay, what happened to the sample? Like, did it come back positive? Whatever. And then Tom kind of attacks her at that point, like he's like behind her or something in the house, and he like attacks her, and she calls. She doesn't call anybody. What am I saying? I don't know. And then the cops come, and she kills Tom, and he's in the lake. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Actually, I don't think the cops come. Okay, but like he drowns in the lake, and she kills him. She drags him out of the lake just as Len possesses him because he dies in the lake, and then she stabs him outside of the lake. Anyway, I think that's supposed to like not bring him back again because like whoever dies in the lake, their like soul is in the lake. So if Len dies again in the lake, then I guess you know he's gonna stay there. But if she brings him out of the lake, then like I guess he dies for good. I think. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's what she tries to do. And then later, I don't know, I guess they live happily ever after. I don't know. She tells like Detective Wilma or whatever her name was, and she tells her this whole thing. She doesn't tell about the ghost, but she tells her about like her killing Len and her like finding evidence that Len killed these girls. And the detective's like, oh, okay, she just promises to like keep quiet, I guess. And they all live happily ever after. And Boone comes back, and they're like kind of a thing now. And Casey just like out of the blue, she just quits cold turkey, which I don't think that's how it works, but like, whatever. So overall, I gave the book like 3 stars, and it was just very. I mean, I wouldn't say it's all over the place because like I feel like that's how murder mysteries are supposed to be. I like it when they're like a little bit chaotic, but like I feel like this was just like, I don't know, it was just very, so much was happening, but like nothing was happening at the same time because it was so slow. And then suddenly, like everything started happening, and there were ghosts, which like I feel like there should have been some warning for, but they were just there and then gone again. And the rest of the story was so like human and like mundane that like the ghosts being involved just seemed so out of pocket. So I don't know. But yeah, I have to read 2 more Riley Sager books for this video. So now I'm reading Lock Every Door, which I think is about a woman who starts like apartment sitting for like this rich couple, and then weird shit starts happening in the apartment, I think. Also, I just want to mention, like, I've been thinking about this throughout like my journey through the first book, but like I noticed that like it didn't occur to me that Riley Sager was like a guy until like halfway through the book. And then I was like thinking about the name, and I was like, damn. But I appreciate it because he actually writes like a woman, which is like a compliment. Because I wasn't like grossed out by his descriptions of like the main characters or anything like that. Like, usually, like when I'm reading a book written by like a male author, I'm very aware that I'm reading a book written by a male author, and this time, like, I wasn't. So maybe that's my toxic trait. Okay, I just wanted to say, okay, I'm like 30% through, and I just wanted to say I noticed that like both of his books are so similar to each other. Like, I don't know which one was written first. I'm currently reading Lock Every Door, and they're literally so similar. Like, insanely similar. Like, not even like general like vibes or anything. It's like very specific things to like tropes and everything. The main character in the first book, like, her family died, okay, and not her family, like her husband died. And in this one, this girl's family died, which is like very broad because usually, like, I mean, it's a book. Someone has to die, right? And second, like she makes friends with this girl in like who's like kind of her neighbor who lives like right below her, and then this girl disappears. Like Catherine, she literally like they just get to know each other, and then like the next day she disappears. Okay, same with Catherine. This girl's name is Ingrid, and then like right before she disappears, like they both hear screams. Like Casey hears Catherine scream or thinks she hears Catherine scream, and like everyone thinks she's like delusional. And this girl, Jules, hears Ingrid scream, and everyone thinks she's delusional. Like it's so specific. Like the tropes too. Like this is insane. I have no idea which one was written first, but like there's like a very detailed like formula. You know, like I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I already know who the love interest is going to be. I think it's going to be like this guy who lives like in 12B, which is like the apartment right next to Jules. Like his name's Nick, I think, and he's like a doctor. And it's suspicious because everyone else was like described, like their facial features were like described, but this guy was just like described as like handsome, so that's suspicious. Like, you know, at this point. But yeah, I don't know how the rest of the story's gonna play out, but like so far, they're like really similar, which is weird. And like, I just feel like I'm reading the same book again because like it's the same writing, same story basically, just like different setting. But I am gonna say like I do think I'm enjoying this one a little bit more. It's like a little bit more entertaining. I don't know, maybe I just like the premise more, like the whole apartment sitting thingy. But okay, so it's the next day, and I finished Lock Every Door. Yeah, I finished Lock Every Door, and I have a problem because like I liked it better than The House Across the Lake. Like I definitely liked it better than The House Across the Lake. It was more interesting. I was a little bit freaked out towards the middle, but at the same time it wasn't like really really good, and I gave The House Across the Lake like 3 stars. And I feel like this book is also a 3-star book. Like Lock Every Door is also a 3-star book, but it's like better. So I don't know if I should. I can't give it 3.5 stars. So I feel like should I move this to 4 stars, or should I like move The House Across the Lake to 2 stars? Like I don't know. Anyway, that's not even the point. The point is like my thoughts on the book. I feel like okay. So in the beginning, like the premise is obviously very different from The House Across the Lake. Um, but like the kind of the I mentioned this in the last clip I think, but like the I literally forgot the word for it. The tropes, like the tropes were very similar, like her having meeting her neighbor and then the neighbor disappearing and then her finding the neighbor and like blah 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 whatever. But like the ending was like I guess it was like pretty interesting, but like again the same complaint I had with the first book. It was just very like it kind of just fell flat to me. Like the entire book, like I felt like at some point it had to pick up, but I just had like the same thoughts or the same like mood or energy towards the book the entire time. Like I don't know if that's me or it's just like the book, but like I felt like it just had the same energy throughout the entire thing, and like it never like picked up pace or slowed down. It was just like the same throughout, which was just so it just made it very unexciting. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Lock Every Door, which I did like more than The House Across the Lake, obviously. But yeah, I wasn't like shocked or like surprised when things happened, or I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe it might be me. I don't know if it's the book necessarily. I don't know. But yeah, currently I am like 26% through. Um, what's this book called? Final Girls, which is essentially about like the main character. I think her name is Quincy. So Quincy was like in this kind of like this massacre thingy when she was in college, I believe, and all 6 of her friends died, and she's the only one that survived. And they, like, the press or like the public kind of coined a term for her, and she's called like a final girl. And there are 3 final girls. There was this one girl that died years before, not sorry, she didn't die. She survived like a massacre similar to this years before Quincy. And then there's another girl who survived another one in the middle between like the first girl and Quincy. So in the first girl, she ends up like she kills herself. We don't know if she actually killed herself, but yeah, so she kills herself, and now Sam, the second final girl, and the names, okay, Quincy meet for the first time, and yeah, so like we don't really know what it's about, what's gonna happen, but I think they're like killing the final girls off. Like we don't know who's killing them. We don't even know what exactly happened in Quincy's situation. Like she never really talks about it. Like we know something happened. Her friends ended up dying. We don't know the specifics because in the book Quincy also like doesn't remember. She just does not remember what happened. We don't even know the killer's name. Like she knows his name, but she never like says it. Even in her head, he's just like him. So I want to know that. That's really it. And yeah. Okay, so I finished, and I gave the book like 3 stars, but I feel like it's 2 stars because nothing happened. Like I swear to God, nothing happened for the first like 3/4 of the book, and then everything started picking up around like 70% or like 60%, and it was so, oh my God, it was like, and like everything is very predictable. Like I really noticed that like I mentioned this before like multiple times in this video, but like there's like this, it's very formulaic, right? Like in the first book, the killer, the murderer, whatever, ended up being Casey's husband Len. In the second book, it was like her kind of her expected love interest, Nick was the killer, the guy who was like doing all this stuff. In the third book that I read, what's it called? Final Girls, it was Coop, the guy who like she liked and who liked her, and who like there were like undertones throughout the book that they were like kind of into each other and stuff, and then the killer was him. So like it's the same person. Like they're all the same people. The main character is just the same girl over and over, and the main like the killer is just the same guy over and over again. And it was just so predictable, and you just know what's gonna happen before it happens. Like you don't actively predict it, but it's not surprising when it happens. Like you're not like, oh my God, I did not expect this, because it's happened 2 other times. And maybe it's also because I read them back to back, so they were just kind of blending into each other. But like at the same time, I still feel like they're the same people. Like I don't know why I don't like them so much, because like you know at least 1 out of 3 I gotta like one of them, but I didn't. I literally, it was just so repetitive and like boring and flat, and maybe I would recommend them. Like I don't despise these books, I don't hate them, I just did not enjoy them. I just did not find them fun or like exciting in any way, and it's literally a thriller book. So yeah, that was really sad. And like I don't know, I liked his writing. His writing style was really nice, but just the story and the way it developed and like the pacing was just very like things are happening and it doesn't make sense until the end, which is good because I love it when it's like just random things are happening in the beginning and then like everything falls into place in the end. Like I love that. It's like when it's well written, it's really good. But and it was well written, but at the same time, it was like everything was happening, and when it was happening, it was just so obvious how it would fall into place. And then yeah, so those are my thoughts on his 3 books. Maybe I'd recommend them. I don't think I'd read any more Riley Sager. Maybe I'll do another video like this, but it's just like thriller books in general, not Riley Sager. So, because like I had fun, and honestly, some of them were a little scary, but also because I read them at like 2 in the night, so maybe that's why. And I kept hearing like noises, but yeah. I don't think that had anything to do with the book itself. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and I think that's the end of this video. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!